Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, this is the OhioRAAM Show, and I am Lee Kreider, the producer, host, janitor, the whole 9 yards. And, well, Jim is not here tonight. He is under the weather. He just texted me a few minutes ago, said he wouldn't make it. A surprise for him there. I'd been gone for a couple weeks because of health issues, me and my wife both. Just want to say that we want to appreciate the good wishes we had from so many people. I went in for what was going to be I guess you'd call it minor procedure or local anesthetic, wound up with a general anesthetic and some major surgery. And although it all turned out, the surgery results were good. The recovery time has been long. And meanwhile, my wife was in rehab, and she's home and I'm home, and Jim's not here. And so he's going to put me through what I put him through the last 2 weeks. Enough of that kind of talk. Let's get on with the business of being here. This show comes to you because of all the good people who operate time stations in Ohio for the Race Across America, time station 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, and 43 in Oxford. And let's hope my throat stays well, because it still hasn't recovered fully from having a tube stuck down it. But that said, let's get over to my notes here and say, we ought to also, I can't find the graphics. That's Jim's job, and he does such a good job of it. But we want to talk about Mike and his signs, Mike Minniam, who puts the signs up around here. We'll be talking more about those in a little bit, how you can help Mike with his program of putting the route signs up through Indiana and Ohio. We want to make sure that you follow us on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And I don't have my bell here. It got, it was confiscated to give an alarm for bedside support. So anyhow, thank you so much for your support. And be sure and check out the OhioRAAMshow.com website. You will see there the show notes for this evening's show, as well as a lot of other information. And we'll get that updated with the new 2023. Excuse me. This might turn out to be an interesting show. Anyhow, some news. Most of you already know this, but Sebring has been canceled. I'm going to try a cough drop here, see if that'll help. Sebring has been canceled, and we're sorry to say that the Race Across America website is still broken, so that we can't see any team data. And this is really putting a handicap on us here at the show. We hope that gets fixed before too long. But for those of you who are in teams, if we get in touch with you, we know hardly anything about you because we cannot see any data you have submitted to the Race Across America website. Next week, let's see if I can find that. Next week is Team Tutapona. They are an 8-person team, but we're probably only going to have the leader of the team with us. And it is a team that brings mental health services to people who are in war and conflict, and they have quite an interesting story to tell. That'll be next week, same time, same station. Then after that, we're going to have the Christmas New Year's hiatus because they both fall on a Sunday, which is our normal broadcast time. And that maybe will give us all a little time to catch up, maybe even get well. Who knows? And so, at any rate, um, that's coming up then. We appreciate all your support and good wishes. Remember that you can make a comment on Facebook or YouTube, and we can post them for our guest this evening. And we're going to go right to her. And boy, she better have something to say because my throat is gone. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to be on the show with you tonight.
Well, we're excited to have you, Wendy, and we're just so delighted to have you a part of this. And you're going to be doing Raw Race Across the West 2023 as a solo hand cycle. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, that was not in the original plan. Originally, I was going to be part of a 2-person team. My partner was, unfortunately, he is not going to be able to do it with me. So had a lot of discussions with my coach and with my crew and my husband, and decided, you know what? I think I can do this. We're going to go for it. Going to attempt it solo. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Very good. And I believe you've done a lot of marathons as a hand cycle, have you not? That's been one of your primary emphasis.
Yeah, marathons so far have been my primary thing. I started getting to the point where I just really enjoyed the longer and the longer and the longer distances. And I kind of needed a new goal to focus on after my last few races. And I'm the type that I will get out on my hand cycle and spend as much time on my hand cycle as my coach will let me. He's the one that always is having to tell me, no, you're not riding that far today. Today's a rest day, or today's an easy day. So earlier this year, I just started doing longer and longer distances and doing some more stuff with able-bodied upright cyclists, and I've just really, really been loving that. So yeah.
I believe I saw that you were the women's winner of the New York Marathon. Is that correct?
I was, yes. Yeah. So that was last month in November. So, yep. Took first place as the first place female hand cyclist in New York. Won Boston Marathon this year. Trying to think what other races I did this year. It's been a long year.
Now, you have suffered a spinal cord injury. Is that correct? And how did that come about? And what's the nature of your injury?
So I have several different rare genetic diseases. The one that caused the issues with my spinal cord is a rare connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And what that means is I have a genetic defect where my body does not produce one of the key proteins in the formation of collagen. So ligaments and tendons are made up of collagen. So all of the collagen in my body is really weak, and that affects so many different parts of my body. It makes all of my joints hypermobile and they dislocate easily. It affects ligaments and tendons, connective tissue. So stuff like my heart valves are made of connective tissue. So I have, floppy heart valves. I've had to have surgeries to, repair some of my internal organs that started slipping into the wrong place, and just all kinds of stuff like that. But my spine is also super unstable. So I've had to have neck surgery to stabilize my neck. I have all kinds of hardware in my neck. in my lumbar spine, it developed into what's called an anterolisthesis. And essentially, what happened is one of my vertebrae actually slipped down over the top of the other one. And it's a very severe anterolisthesis. And when that happened, that pinched off my spinal cord. So it's an incomplete injury. So what that means is I still have some feeling and some movement. It's very patchy. So I can feel parts of my legs, other parts I can't feel, that sort of thing. So it's I do use a wheelchair full time, but I still have a little bit of movement. So it makes it a little bit easier to transfer back and forth than somebody that has a complete injury, for instance.
So yours situation is disease related rather than trauma related. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct
Okay.
for that. Now, I have I have also had some trauma injuries. I I was in a severe car wreck in 2006 and almost lost my right leg, and my right calf was essentially torn off. I had to have multiple surgeries to reconstruct my calf, and muscle grafts and skin grafts. So I also have that as well. So I'm a mess.
Well,
I'm a mess.
the motto of ultracycling is innovate, adapt, and overcome.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you certainly have fulfilled that motto
Oh gosh.
over and over again.
Over and
Um,
over. I had ovarian cancer a few years ago.
oh my goodness.
I have a primary immunodeficiency disease, which is like what the bubble boy had. That's, most people have heard of the bubble boy. So genetic disease. I was born without a fully functioning immune system. So my body doesn't produce antibodies on its own. I get my immune system through immunoglobulin infusions that come from donated plasma.
Okay.
So, and I'm a mess.
All right. Well, Lee, shut up about your situation. You've got nothing to complain about. I've seen ultracyclists, been around ultracyclists. Well, but still, I don't have any sense of what it's like to be an ultracyclist. How does your life differ as a cyclist than what mine would on a standard upright bike?
So on a hand cycle, of course, we're powering everything with our upper body, with our arms. So there are two kinds of hand cycles. I'm in a fully recumbent hand cycle because my back is very unstable. My spine is, so I need the support for being in a recumbent position. There are kneeling hand cycles also where you're sitting a little bit more upright, but you don't have the back support. So when I am in a fully recumbent position, we're not going to get as much power as an upright cyclist would for a couple of different reasons. One, we're not up over the top of our pedals. So especially like climbing, an upright cyclist can get up out of their saddle and get that extra power to climb hills. Well, we can't do that. We're still using just our arms. So I tell people, think about it kind of like you're pulling yourself up a rope in gym class. Is, kind of what we're having to do when we're climbing up hills. So, and you also think about the fact that your legs are a lot larger than your arms. You just have more muscle in your legs than you do your arms. So we don't have as much muscle power. And then our position being recumbent, we don't have, we're not getting any power from our core. It's very isolated to our upper body, to our chest, shoulders, arms. So it takes a lot more effort, I guess, to get uphill because we just can't get the same power that a cyclist can. Now, going downhill, we have a little bit of an advantage because of our positioning, we're very aerodynamic. So I can go faster downhill than an upright cyclist can.
And you're carrying a little more weight on your cycle too.
So yeah. Now it doesn't make up for how slow I'm going to be going uphill, but we can make up a little bit of time then going back downhill.
I'm trying to remember my engineering principles. You just essentially you never gain back going down that you have to put in going up, and that's probably triply true for you.
Yeah. So we try to take advantage of the downhills as best we can, but yeah, I mean it's tough. So a lot of training, as it does for anybody really, whether you're an able-bodied upright cyclist or you're an athlete with disabilities and a hand cycle. It's just nonstop training.
I want to talk a little bit about crew support and all this too, Wendy. But first of all, we want to say hello to Spiegel Bikes. Vesna's out there. Nice to see you, Mr. Lee and Wendy. Hey, Vesna, thank you. And thank you for the good wishes last week. She was on the show last week with Joe Lawhorn and Doug Shivington. And Jim, I don't know if you got in here in time or not, Vesna, but Jim is sick this week. And hey, folks, give us some comments and questions out there for Wendy, or just tell us where you're at. We'd like to hear from you. We're not giving anything away tonight. There's nothing to be had, but we would like to hear where you're from and just say hello to us. Well, you're dependent a lot on crew in different ways, are you not?
For sure. So being disabled, it adds this whole extra layer to what we need as far as crew support. So my husband is actually going to be on my crew because he knows how to help me transfer in and out of my hand cycle and into my day chair and all of that. So it's going to take me longer at rest stops to get out of my hand cycle, and depending on what I need to do as far as going to the bathroom or getting food or whatever, it's going to take me longer. The logistics of just trying to get me moved where I need to go, it's just harder. It just is. Stuff like I don't control my body temperature well. So I have to be super, super careful, even more so than an able-bodied person, because of my neurological diseases, my neurological issues, my spinal cord injury. I get hypothermic very easily, and I can get heat exhaustion very easily. So we have to be even more careful about that than an able-bodied upright cyclist would be. So luckily I live in a hot climate. I'm used to training in the heat. So there's already a lot of stuff that I employ on a regular basis to keep me cooled down, because I know the desert areas of RAAM is going to be really, really tough. So, stuff like sticking frozen water bottles down my sports bra and using cooling towels and all of that. So all of that is stuff that, we have to be even more careful about. Also, in a hand cycle, we're a lot lower to the ground and we're in a recumbent position. So we're only a couple inches off the ground. Our hand cycles are super, super low to the ground. So all that heat just radiates up off the road right onto us. So we're going to get hotter than someone on an upright bike would. Plus, having spinal cord issues and spinal cord injury. And I also have what's called dysautonomia, which is a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, which regulates body temperature and heart rate and all of that. It's just, we're going to have to be super, super careful that I don't get overheated. And then I tend to become hypothermic pretty easily. So there's a lot of different things like that we're really going to have to put extra thought into, and just provides this the added layer of complexity to my race.
Okay, we got somebody out here who's apparently new to the whole concept of Race Across the West. Said I saw the plug for this show on the Will Run for podcast page. Race Across the West is on open roads, right? You have to take extra care to keep visible to other cars. And the answer is yes. The
Yes.
roads are not closed to traffic, unlike Tour de France or something like that. Traffic is a part of the picture. So go ahead, Wendy.
So, and the other thing too, so she may not know that for races like this, for Race Across the West, we will have vehicles following behind us that will have flashing lights on the top, the big safety triangles on the back. It'll have signage that, says cyclist ahead, all of that. The other thing is the Race Across America and Race Across the West, they do require some additional stuff specific to hand cycles, where we will actually have to have a raised light on the back of our hand cycle that I have to double check the exact rules, but it's some additional safety measures specifically for hand cycles, with the addition of like raised bars with the flashing light on the back, that sort of thing. Then we will also have to put reflective tape on our tires and on our frame and all of that, just to try to make us as visible as possible to cars. So, but that follow vehicle too is really, really key. And that's where my crew will be, is in the vehicle following behind me.
Okay, thank you for being in here, Angie. And if you got any more questions, don't hesitate to post them, because we always love to have people who aren't maybe fully aware of how this all works with us. And Vesta says thank you and wish Wendy all the best, of course. Now, I had another question, but it went by the board somewhere. Wendy, this time of year, everybody signed up for RAW or RAM, have that focus, and that's where their focus is. But what do you see for yourself beyond this? What's some of your goals?
I don't know. I mean, right now I am hyper focused on RAW. So I did register for the Longhorn 500 in early April. That's a race in Texas, so it's kind of local for me. So we'll get as much of my crew together as we can. Hopefully it'll be all of my crew. And that's going to be our time to practice, how I'm getting in and out of my hand cycle, how I'm going to go to the bathroom, how I'm going to, eat, figure out how long I can go without sleep, and how often I need to take rest breaks, all of that. So we're going to do the Longhorn 500. That's, to prepare for RAW. And then, after RAW, in my mind, I would love to do Race Across America at some point, but really right now I have to focus on RAW and see how that goes. And then we'll figure out after that if Race Across America is in the future. I've also toyed around with doing the 24-hour World Time Trial Championships in Borrego Springs next year. So, that's a possibility as well. And then, there'll be some other smaller races. I did the Marfa 100K out in far west Texas this year, and I had so much fun. It just was a fun race for me to do. So I'd really like to do that one again, just purely for fun. And it's good training. So, but that, we're going to see how RAW goes and then go from there. But maybe RAM someday. I've got it in the back of my head. I'm not going to lie.
Well, if you want to follow Wendy, you can follow her on Facebook. And if you'll go to the OhioRAAMshow.com website, right at the top will be her video for this week. And below it will be show notes. There'll be a link there to her Facebook page, a link to her fundraising page as well. You can click on. And a link to Team Catapult. Tell me a little bit what Team Catapult is about.
So, Team Catapult is a charity organization that helps athletes with disabilities. And they provide grants each year to different athletes. And some depending on what the athlete's needs are and what they apply for, grants can be used for the purchase of equipment, for training, coaching costs, for race entry fees or travel to races, that type of thing. They also offer different camps. I know they had a running camp recently. They do, sometimes they do triathlon camps, but stuff that is really geared towards disabled sports. And then just, a lot of general support for athletes with disabilities. I'm doing the Houston Marathon in January with Team Catapult. They have a large team of athletes with disabilities that will be doing the Houston Marathon. And they have been very supportive of me as I have become more and more competitive with my hand cycling and started doing the longer and longer distances. And so I am one of their sponsored athletes. So I'm doing this as part of Team Catapult, but I'm also raising funds to support Team Catapult so that they're able to continue to carry on their work and hopefully help more and more athletes each year, get more athletes involved in disabled sports, because I know how much that has helped me mentally and physically, has helped all around, my physical health, my mental health, all of it. So hopefully we can reach out, help other athletes that are disabled that may be struggling or may not have even been introduced to sports, and get them involved and, help them improve their situation.
Wendy, we're so glad to have you with us tonight. You are a delight, as are most ultra cyclists and ultra people. Before we went on the air, we were talking about ultra families. And I was commenting on what a wonderful family the ultra family is. And you were mentioning the fact you found the same to be true because you've been in the marathon area for some time. And there's something about it, and I don't know what it is, that people who put themselves on the line at that level have a bonding that is hard to explain. Hey, we've got some guests out there. We wish that more of you would have told us where you're at. I guess you're shy tonight, Wendy. They don't want to talk to us. Maybe they wonder about the old guy over here whose throat is just about ready to pop. But we do appreciate you having you with us. We wish you well on Raw. We will be staying in touch.
Yes.
And we want to just get my right buttons pushed here since Jim's not here to push them. Say once again that next week we're going to be having Team Tatapona on. They look to be an interesting group, an 8-person team doing the race across America. And also, we want to recommend that you subscribe and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Because our ego really needs all the help it can get. And more so because when you do that, you help get the word out about ultra cycling. And we all want that to happen as more people learn about it. Wendy, best to all of you. Thank all of you for watching. Thank you for being here. Hey, Jim, get well. We can't have this situation of different of us being on the sick list from week to week. So it'd be nice to have both of us here for a time. And best to everybody. Mind how you go. I think Greg is back there on the back room wanting to come out and say goodbye. So here we go. Stay around, Wendy. Don't leave.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.